So welcome to our presentation of Think You Have a Major Problem, Choosing a Career That Is Not Major Specific. My name is Beth Secchi. I'm one of the Associate Directors in the Center for Career Development and work with a whole lot of students on major selection, career selection, seeing if they're connected relationship to them or not. And so we wanted to have a presentation today to address that. With me, I have a number of individuals, coworkers, alumni, employers, combo, who are here also to have this conversation with us and really just to reinforce that point. So what I'd like to do first is just ask everyone to do an introduction. And I'm going to call you out based on how you show up on my screen. So Tara, you're next to me, so you're next.
Hi all, my name is Tara. I am a UConn alum. Currently, I work at UConn. I'm also an executive master's student at the University of Pennsylvania. My role at UConn, I work for the Worth Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation as the head of entrepreneurial transformation. And so I work with students to be able to provide them with entrepreneurial skill sets that will allow them to be most marketable to employers regardless of what career path they're choosing to pursue.
Thank you, Tara. Christina, how about you going next?
Hello, my name is Christina Badini, and I'm on the Corporate Partner Relations team. I work with employers and I connect them with our students.
Thank you. Danny?
Hey everyone, my name is Danny. I'm an employer partner, so I'm not from UConn, but I do recruit at UConn. So I'm a senior campus recruiter for Target Corporation. I recruit for stores internship positions and our store executive team leader roles.
Thank you. Jared, I'll have you go next since you're also with Target.
Hi guys, my name is Jared. I am actually an executive team leader at Target that was recruited by Daniel. So it was like a full circle moment for me. So it's great to be here and excited to talk to everybody.
Thank you. And finally, Rose.
Hi guys, my name is Rose and I'm a UConn alumni. I graduated in 2014. I'm also presenting with the employers. I work for Enterprise Holdings. I'm an area manager overseeing 7 branches in the Western Massachusetts area. So I'm here to talk to you guys and really excited to share some insight.
Thank you. Alrighty, I am going to, for our participants, I have a quick quiz for you. I'm also putting something in the chat for you to just fill out that says you're here today, if you don't mind. It's just a quick Google form. So I'm going to put that in there just to count for attendance. And the link did not go, so let me copy that again and try this one more time. Yay, okay, so first in the chat is just a link to a Google form. But now I have a quick quiz for our attendees and actually for our participants because you do not know the answer, so you're welcome to play along as well. So I'm going to put 5 individuals in the chat, the names of 5 individuals and their occupation. So I'd like you to look those over for a minute and imagine what major you think they are. I am going to give you a multiple choice since there are so many majors, of course, to try to consider. These are not necessarily UConn alum. These are just famous people, and I'm hoping you recognize at least some of them and you'll be able to guess. So if you look at the people and their occupations, kind of imagine what you think their major might have been, your options, and you can throw this in the chat. Do you think they were all accounting majors, English majors, exercise science majors, or fine arts, which would include drama, music, and theater? So you can just throw something in the chat and I'll tell you the answer in a moment. The individuals may not have all finished their degrees, finished college, etc., but they all went to college for this one very specific career. So why don't you throw in your responses in the chat and I'll look to see what's going on. And if you know the answer already, maybe don't throw it in. I don't know. Looking for a couple more people to throw in their ideas. Don't worry if you're right or wrong. It's okay. So I see 2 people have answered so far. Anyone else willing to throw in your thought? So Rose, you are correct. They are all accounting majors. I just thought that was incredibly unexpected when I did this research and really just want to reinforce that a lot of times we see liberal arts majors, right, that come to the Career Center and say, I'm a liberal arts major and I have no idea what I want to do, which we'll obviously talk about today. However, I wanted our guests to know, our students to know, that it's not just liberal arts students or liberal arts majors that sometimes get separated from like an intended career path, right? That you might be working in a field for 20 years and then switch. So that goes to my second question of the day. So does anyone know? So I have three celebrity type people that I want to share with you. One of them, I'm pretty sure you'll know all of them, but I'm pretty sure you'll know what they did first as well as what they do now. So I'm going to put in the name in the chat. So Ken Jeong, some of you might recognize his name. Hopefully I did not mispronounce the last name. Does anyone know what this individual did first before the role that they are actively in now? You can just throw in the chat, or you can unmute, and again, it can go to our panelists, or it can go to our students in the room. Anyone want to throw out? That's right, Danny. He was a doctor first, which is pretty impressive. And I think he was a consultant on some shows too, and then he slowly evolved. Now he's acting and is a guest judge on the Mask show, and I don't know how he became that, how it evolved, but yes, started out as a doctor. Okay, so here's another famous person that, again, you know this person's role, kind of their current role, but maybe not have known what they went to school for. And I'm not talking undergrad, talking post-grad, what occupation they had before they had their current role. So if you read her book, you know, but you may, if you haven't read her book, you might not know. So any guesses on her? So Michelle Obama actually went to school to become a lawyer and started there. So she changed her job considerably. Now she's really made a decision to be 100% in public service. Yep, Tara, you did catch that. All right, so I have two more real quick. One is, and I think even people who are not my age will know this individual. So before he was president, does anyone know what he did first? Before he was president, he had a very different type of job. Kind of the opposite. That's right. Right, Anika. So the opposite, right, of Ken. So was an actor first and then became president of the United States. And we're probably like the only country that can happen in, right? And here's my last one. And for President Reagan, he studied economics and sociology and apparently was a C student. So again, classroom talent does not necessarily reflect where you can go in life. So it's just really important. And lastly, does anyone know Elizabeth Warren's background before she became a politician? And she had actually two different careers leading to this, two very distinctive careers. Yes, she was in academics. Do you know a little bit more, Tara, or is that just a guess? Okay, that's a good guess. So Elizabeth Warren apparently from a very young age wanted to be a teacher and started out as a special needs teacher, and then eventually went to law school and became a law teacher and law instructor, and then in 2012 or right around 2012 decided, nope, I want to do more, and entered the world of politics. So just a quick, thing to kind of get us thinking about where we're headed today. All righty, so that's my little quiz. Okay, for folks, a couple of people that just joined, I'm going to put the Google Doc back in the chat. If you could please fill that out. It's the way that we can know who is here. And for the couple of people that just joined too, this is being recorded. You are more than welcome to show yourself on camera if you're so inclined, and if you're not, of course, we totally respect that. Alrighty, so that said, I'm going to go find our agenda and move on to share our agenda with you and then move on to the next parts. So if our folks, what I'd like to do is we're going to ask our student participants to please consider putting some information in the chat about yourself. If you're, or unmuting, but we are looking for information on if you have a major right now and or if you have a career interest. Again, just to let us know who you are, who's in the room, not to be called out or anything like that. Then each of our panelists are going to share a little bit about themselves, and then we'll go into some Q&A. Tara's going to lead a discussion with everyone, and then Christina will give us a little bit more information on how you can be really practical moving forward with some of your decisions regarding your career, and then I'll wrap us up. So that said, if folks in the audience wouldn't mind just throwing in the chat again a little bit if you have a major and or if you have a career interest, that would really help us out so we know who we're talking to. And while that's occurring, I'm going to ask that Christina, would you start a little bit, give us a minute or so about your background and how you wound up where you are and how your major did or did not align with your career?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So I was a psychology major undergrad. I was always interested in human behavior and connecting with people. When I looked at my career, I realized that what I learned in the classroom, the skills I learned in the classroom, can really be expanded to different industries and types of roles. So it's then that I looked at my interests and asked myself, what experiences did I have during college that really resonated with me? What did I want more of that I could add value and contribution? So ultimately, it was my interest that landed me my first job. So what that was, I studied abroad my junior year, and that was a very meaningful experience for me. And I found an organization whose mission was to bring the world together. And when I saw that mission and I read more about that company, I knew that's where I wanted to land. So I started with cultural exchange, and those experiences and skills that I learned broadened my mind, and it ultimately led me to education at the high school level, and then ultimately to higher ed, where I am here today.
Thank you, Christina. It's ironic. I also had an epiphany on my study abroad experience, except it was the opposite. So you found your interest when you went abroad, and I realized when I was taking my classes in my junior year study abroad, how much I didn't like my major. I was a marketing major in college, and I chose it very haphazardly. That's a whole nother presentation story. But ultimately, in my senior year, fortunately figured out where I wanted to work was in higher ed. And even though when I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher and then decided I didn't want to be a teacher, I kind of went full circle and came back to education. But my experience going abroad really helped me determine marketing was not where my strength was. It was working with college students. And so I was very happy that I discovered that I could get my master's in higher ed, but absolutely had that horrible epiphany end of junior year at a private college in the 1980s when interest loans were like at 9% and nobody stayed an extra year in college. And I was like, what am I going to do? So definitely have lived that experience. All righty. Tara, why don't you tell us a quick moment how you got to where you are?
Yeah, happy to. So hi, everyone. Like I said, I'm a UConn alumni. For the first couple years of my undergrad, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. I have family members that are in the medical field. And so I pursued, was exploring nursing to see if that was something that I would be interested in. But I have the biggest phobia of like hospitals and people who are sick. And I panic just thinking about it. So that was pretty easily crossed off the list. And then I was thinking about teaching, and I was also thinking about engineering. I wasn't necessarily specifically drawn to either one. And I had a really great mentor that told me, like, stop trying to decide exactly what you want to do right now. Just engage in experiences that are of interest to you. So stop focusing on what major or what career path you want in the long run, but take some time to explore classes that you're interested in. And for me, that was psychology and some business classes as well. So I majored in psychology and I minored in business. And then I also minored in women's gender and sexuality studies because I liked those courses. And so I think that combination kind of set me apart to a certain degree. And it was simply because I was just taking courses that I really enjoyed. And then, like I said, experiences that are of interest to you. So I think when you're trying to figure out what internships to apply for or what opportunities that you want to pursue opportunities that you're passionate about or that really are of interest to you. So one of my first internship experiences as an undergrad was actually working for the Career Center at UConn. And so that was an amazing experience. I loved helping other students, and I learned so much through that experience, but also I learned a lot about what different types of opportunities and career paths there were. And so kind of through that internship, I really became more interested in the world of higher education, which is where I still am. And throughout my undergrad, I pursued opportunities around student health, so launching different types of health programs. And then I was also connected with the School of Business, working with an emerging technology lab. And so really my whole kind of point is just pursue opportunities that are of interest to you, and new doors will continue to open along your way.
Thank you, Tara. Danny and Jared, you could decide who wants to go first. If you can, speak to your own experiences briefly, but also share with the group sort of with your role at Target, how this kind of all comes together. And then Rose will have you do the same.
Yeah, totally. I think I'll kick it off and I'll let Jared kind of chime in since he's a little closer to the student's age where I just recruited him last year from college. But I think similar to what like you ladies just said, my career path was all over the place. And I'll tell you one thing, I never thought that I would have a career in retail. I definitely always saw myself more of, you think about like when you're younger and like you're a kid and you think, okay, I'm going to be 30, I'm going to have like a white picket fence, I'm going to have like 2 kids and a corporate job where I'm going to wear a suit and tie. And that is anything that's the farthest from the truth from what I do now. When I was younger, I used to want to be a lawyer. Then I went to school and I said, oh, I was in college and I said, that's going to be a long time of school, and really changed my path a little bit. Started studying international business at the first college I went to. So I originally went to Baruch. Thought I wanted to be in the city. I was like, Manhattan is where it's at. Like, this is what I need to do. Again, realized, hey, nope, this isn't for me. International business, commuting to the city every day, not going to have it. So I took a semester off. I worked. I started bartending and serving tables and working in the hospitality industry. And I said, wow, like I love talking to people. I'm super passionate about people, and knew that that was something that I wanted to pursue. So then I went back to school. I transferred to St. John's. I started going to school at St. John's, and my major was hospitality management. And I had a minor and a focus in HR. Super excited, loved it, felt super passionate about it. Definitely regret, like Tara was saying, like exploring different kind of internship opportunities. I wasn't that go-getter that did that, which is super funny now that I'm a campus recruiter, and that's what I'm like, hey guys, like that internship program, like that's where you need to get started. Didn't do it. Continued to work though, like in different restaurants and lounges and bars, and I had to make money, right? Pay for school and keep going. So I graduated and I had no career as prospects in sight because I didn't have those internship opportunities. I didn't seize them. Continued to work, and I got to a point where I was applying, and wasn't getting any bites. And I applied for a role in retail, and it was before Target. Prior to working for Target, I was a manager for a small specialty retailer, so I worked for H&M for quite some time. Went into retail, and I said, wow, like I never thought I would do this. Thought it would be a short-term goal, and I stayed there for 6 years. And I worked my way up. I became a store manager. They knew I was passionate about HR. They knew my schooling was in that. So I took on different roles and responsibilities with recruiting, onboarding, training, developing, and ultimately became, we were just like launching this new role, and I became a stores HR generalist, which I was like, wow, like this is super cool. Like who would have thought that retail would have gotten me close to where I want to be? Well, then I was recruited from Target. And they gave me this opportunity to be an ETL HR. So I started as an executive team leader of human resources within one of our Target stores. Did that for about 2 years. And then now I've been with Target for 3 years, and I've been in this current role for 1. So I did 2 assignments as an ETL HR before stepping into talent acquisition, and now working with people. And I'm like kind of where I want it to be. I am working in HR. I love dealing with people. I love campus recruiting. I love going back to school and talking to students and really helping you guys like understand like the meaning. If I can give you one piece of advice, it would be to take those internships because you might get to where you want to be a little faster. But similar to what Tara said, just pursue what is interested to you. At Target, we don't typically hire based on majors. We don't look for just those business majors. I know like we chat a little bit about liberal arts, but we love liberal arts majors, those English majors, those fine arts majors, those folks that maybe are still trying to figure out what they want to do. Like our internship is for you. Now career opportunities could be for you because we really focus on some like leadership skills. Some of those like transferable skills that you probably have that you've picked up along your ways through like student presentations, maybe roles on campus or like some of your employment experience. And that's what we're looking for. And we could definitely help you become like a leader that you want to be and take those skills and really turn it into a career. But Jared, I'll tell you a little bit more about his. Maybe it'll be like a little shorter, but sorry if that was long-winded, but I just wanted to let you all know that definitely had no idea what I wanted to do, but now I am somewhere where I'm excited.
That's a great way to end it, Danny. Thank you. All right, Jared, you've got a couple minutes.
Thanks, Danny. So just to piggyback off that, I definitely didn't know that I wanted to be in retail either. And so going back to the start of college, I was a management major, and I did finish my bachelor's as a management major, but I think I picked that because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I knew that it was very broad. I knew that there was a lot of growth opportunities in whatever I did choose to go into. So on campus, I was in many different leadership roles, and I think that is one thing that contributed to me getting this position at Target was the fact that I was a resident assistant. I worked in the admissions office and did campus tours, and I really tried to embody that student ambassador role and really promote my school. And I knew that going into my career, I could do the same thing. So through that, also piggybacking on what everyone else said regarding internships, I think that is huge. One thing I did was really try to get outside my comfort zone with my internships, and I also ended up studying abroad. When I came back, it was my time to do my internship in my junior year, and I decided I was going to do an engineering. So I actually did a project management. I was a project management intern for Jacobs Engineering, which is outside of Boston. And what I did was I managed a small team, and we worked on multi-million-dollar projects. And I was alongside engineers that have been in the business for 20, 30 years. And it really opened my mind to really the career paths that are out there that I really wasn't a part of, that I really had, one, not really that much interest in, but also I just wasn't aware. So I think that would be my number one advice, would just be to try to open your mind up to the potential opportunities and really where you could end up. And not necessarily like, for example, you can't really, if you don't open the doors, you'll never see what's behind it. So you might as well open as many doors as possible while you can before it's too late. So what I'm saying off of that as well, and something that Danny and I communicated a lot about, was the career growth opportunities with Target. And when it did come time to decide what I wanted to do, Target really stuck out in the sense that no matter what route I did take, for example, now as an executive team leader, there's always a next step that I can go into. So I have clear goals that I could set for myself to get to that next position. So for example, if I wanted to be a store director, I could be, and I could set up goals to align with that. So I think anything you do go into, those goals are extremely important. And Target has given me the opportunity to not only be a part of a company that does have great growth opportunities, but also in an amazing community. And again, going back to what Daniel said about just loving to be around people. So my title is Executive Team Leader for Service and Engagement. So a big part of my role is making the guest experience amazing. And it's something I really enjoy doing every single day, partnering with my team leaders, partnering with my team members, and making sure that we all have that same goal, and they all line up to make sure that the guests have an amazing time. And every day it's something new, and every day it's a new challenge and a new struggle, but you work through it, and that's how you grow as a leader. And again, going back to what Daniel said, just about that growth opportunity in your leadership development. When it came time to be a part of this position, maybe part of me didn't think that I was 100% capable, just because there was so much in retail that I didn't know about from an operational aspect, but I knew because of my background that I had that leadership potential. And so I think Target has allowed me to really shine in all of my great aspects, and also develop some of the ones that I didn't think were as hot.
Cool. Thank you, Jared. All right, Rose, we'd like to hear your story. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So my story is kind of similar, and I would say like a little bit different as well to Danny and the Target employees, similar thing. So I started UConn as an acting major. I had acted my entire life as a kid, and I'd always been on stage. So like I went to UConn like I'm going to be an actress. Get to UConn, start seeing other people that are there, and I'm like, no way, not anywhere near as good as these people. I don't even think I finished my audition. I think I left because I was like, no way am I going to get through this. So I stumbled across the ACES department for students who didn't really know what they wanted to do, and I went and changed my major completely. And literally walked into this office like, I don't know what I should do. I don't know where to go. So I became an undecided student. Started taking some classes in different areas that I was interested in, and kept talking to people, talking to professors and so forth. And that's when I kind of landed on my communication and sociology degree. So I did a dual major, and I just picked it because it was very broad. Everyone had told me like I was a great communicator. I was, really able to articulate myself. So I was like, okay, communication, perfect. That's a broad field. And then with sociology, I was just really interested in the classes I was taking, about, people in societies and so forth. So that's honestly why I picked my major. And it wasn't probably until I was in my junior and senior year when I started thinking like, oh, wow, like I need to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life. So, I ended up, finding out about enterprise. They came to one of my business management classes, and I was like, renting cars? Yeah, no. So I completely dismissed enterprise completely, because they were always like this small building in like my town. There was all over, but I was like, I'm not gonna be a part of that. And then I started looking at the culture of the company, and it was a family-owned company, and their values and where they're based out of and what their ultimate goal was as in the transportation industry. I was like, okay, like I could see myself doing that. But in no way have I ever been passionate about renting cars. And I think it's the same thing with, anyone who's like, works at Staples. Like no one's really passionate about selling office supplies, but they're passionate about being in the sales department and being a leader and leading their team and getting customers a product that they want. And it's a very lucrative field. And that's kind of how I stumbled upon the company. And it wasn't until I really started learning about the culture of the company that I found really my niche and where I, wanted to be, which was managing. I love having a team of people. I have 53 employees that I oversee in the Western Massachusetts area. And I absolutely love being able to see them grow and develop and them reach their goals within the company. But, I had no way did I ever think that I would end up in this field whatsoever. And I think that's the really unique thing and the great thing about being part of this discussion is, when you're applying to jobs, I think that we have to be in a silo of what our major connects with a career. And our goal is to let you guys know that that's not the case whatsoever. And we employ people from all different backgrounds, from all different majors, and that it has really nothing to do with what your major is. It's what you bring to the table and what you can bring to a company as an individual. But yeah, I think that, my, career and, getting to this spot in this company was definitely something that wasn't planned, but it was the best decision I ever made. I've owned the company for almost 8 years now, have rose up the ranks pretty quickly into this role. And, I wouldn't change anything looking back.
Thank you. And I appreciate your honesty too, saying, yeah, renting cars was not my thing I appreciate that. I just have a quick question for my panelists, just a show of hands. How many of you graduated with the major that you intended to start out with when you started your freshman year of college? Show of hands if that happened to anybody. Okay, then. So I think that's really noteworthy, right, for students in this session, just to recognize that changing your major is very typical, and the average number of major changes is about 3 to 5. That's a very common number. Occasionally someone does 5 to 7. Sure, are there students who come in with one major and that's their path? Yes. We sometimes see them at the Career Center where they do like what I did in their junior year and have that epiphany. I'm in the wrong major. I'm completely lost. I was so focused on this path. And because I didn't explore anything outside my lane, and they break down. So being an exploratory student, whether it's a major or career, only is an asset. And honestly, I think it's a skill. Curiosity and adaptability are skills and attributes that I think all employers value in their employees. So definitely capitalize on this, right? Turn it into a strength. So in that vein, what I'd like to do, we'll see if a new skill that I've just learned works. I'm going to break us up quickly into breakout sessions. So hopefully I split everyone up relatively evenly. The panelists were split up, and then the students as well. And we just want to give those of you that are here today a little bit less of an intimidating environment, just to talk to us one-on-one and ask us questions just for a few minutes. And then I'll pull us back in, and Tara's going to sort of summarize and then move us forward toward the second half of the presentation. So I'm going to click start breakout sessions now, again, hoping this works. And in like 4 or 5 minutes, I'll just call us back. Thanks. All right. Hi, Bobia. Welcome back. I have to figure out why mute was not working on some of the groups that I was in. Hi, Stephen. Thanks,
I made it
everybody, for
back.
returning.
We made it back.
I don't know if everyone's mic still had problems. I did hit unmute all from my end. Did the unmuting work at all?
It did. It was fine.
Okay. Tara, you're still unmuted. You're still muted.
I'm muted. Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you, Tara.
I just hit unmute all for everyone. And it says you can unmute yourself now. So can you try again, Tara?
I think everyone can hear me but you, Beth.
Can't hear you. I don't know what happened. It was working so nicely and now it's not. Oh, this is terrible. Started with that echo. Oh,
I
gosh.
think the echo is from Rose.
Is it still echoing?
It is. Yeah.
Let's see.
It was
Allow attendees to unmute themselves. Yes. Unmute all. Anyone. It's supposed to be working. Rose can't hear you either. Oh gosh, this is terrible. But you all can hear me at least. That's something. Better for worse. Okay.
I think Rose, can you
someone
mute
put in the
yourself?
chat- So were people able to talk to each other at all in the small groups? Oh, you were. Okay. At least that worked. Okay. So can someone put something in the chat feature about how that conversation went while I try to figure this out? So we're just not staring at each other. Thanks.
Can everyone else besides Beth?
Tara, we cannot hear you.
I can hear you, Tara.
I can hear you.
Beth, it's just you.
Tara, I just made you presenter. You want to try now?
Okay. Yeah, everyone can hear me, yes?
No.
Except
Yeah.
for Beth.
Oh,
Okay,
you can
let's
hear
tell-
Tara now? Okay, I can't, but that's okay.
Okay, I'm happy
for
to
it,
go.
Tara. Go for it.
So we were having a conversation. I was with Annika, Steven, and Aiden. And so I think a consistent theme was that we have Steven, who's kind of transitioning into an ecology and conservation major. And so he was in cognitive science, so that's a pretty significant shift for him. And he is really passionate about park services and wants to get into roles like that. And so he's making a major shift there, which I commend him for. I think it's really amazing to pursue pathways that you're passionate about. And then Annika is thinking about majoring in economics, but not really sure. And so we talked about when you're not necessarily sure about what career paths or even majors you want to pursue, that experience piece and kind of exploring with different types of courses can be really informative to help you kind of piece together what types of experiences you really like, and how that can translate into the types of roles that you're looking for as you get closer to graduation. What was other people talking about? I'm waiting for Beth, like she can hear me. What were other people talking about in the other group?
Yeah, we talked about the value that when people come together from different disciplines and solving problems, everyone comes with a unique idea, school of thought, and how we find that different ideas help tackle those problems better. So, and Daniel also talked about how at Target, there's a training program that they train their hires on. So the expectation on that part is not for the student to already know those type of things. So training is available.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, I feel a lot of times as a recent college graduate, you can feel overwhelmed. Like, are you going to be able to do that core role? Are you going to be able to do that core function in whatever job or career you decide to take? And I can tell you that's not the thing that you should be concerned about at all. You should be concerned about, do your goals into your vision of where you see yourself align with what that company's mission is. And I would say that's like a big thing to consider, because at the end of the day, chances are that's what everyone that you're going to be working with has that similar mission, that similar goal. And it kind of goes back to all having like a very diverse background and being able to work with people that are very inclusive and coming up with those different ideas to solve problems, because you might not always know. And chances are it's going to be like that forever, for as long as we live. So you're always going to have a buddy or a pal, so to speak, that you can bounce ideas off of and just make it work.
Yeah, I think to go off of that, I know I keep reiterating, like, the more experience you have, the easier it will be to see what you want to do next. And so I think for me, as through my career journey, I definitely explored a wide variety of different fields. But one consistent trend was I loved building and innovating within the areas that I was working on. And so that led me into innovation and entrepreneurship. And I'm now earning a master's degree in it, is that I love building programs and being able to innovate and kind of push the limits on what is possible, regardless of where I'm at. And so because I was able to kind of name that passion, it has allowed me to kind of pursue opportunities accordingly. So I am happy to drop my email in the chat if any students would want to follow up with me just to chat. I'm happy to do that. You can also shoot me an email with any questions or any advice that you're looking for. I know Beth will probably put a shout out. Ooh, I got feedback again. For career consultants, but I will put it over to Christina to talk about our next agenda item.
Okay, thank you, Tara. So I'd like to just talk a little about how you could get experience in the field, your field of interest. And really, I like to say, just leverage your resources and network. Invest in your interests. Deepen your knowledge and your level of experience and passion of yours. There's lots of online tools where you can build your skills and gain certifications, everything from LinkedIn to Coursera. Find a certification program. Maybe you're interested in a yoga and you want to pursue going to the next level and being a teacher. Learn a new language. There's temp opportunities out there that you'll be able to pursue while you're job searching. Take advantage of maybe volunteer programs in your local organization. And there's also ways that you could participate in an internship, but make it more of a short-term project. They're called micro internships, and that's where you could be almost like an independent consultant and participate in a short-term project or assignment with an employer. And that's, you getting the same benefits as a traditional internship that may be a little longer, but with a micro internship, it is it's a shorter term. I know Parker Dewey talks a lot about that. Also, join a professional organization. Meetup also has lots of ways that you could meet people and join events. You could take the lead on an event and, gather people together who have the same interests as you and move forward on a mission that's very passionate of yours. And then, of course, UConn faculty, if you're staying close to campus, see if a past professor could use some help in research, or there's teaching assistant opportunities within your department. Stay close with them. And alumni relations. You'll always be a Husky once you graduate, and Huskies always are willing to connect with each other. So get involved with alumni wrench and events and expand your network. So they're just some tips to keep leveraging your resources and network.
Christina, those are great resources, and you did such a good segue too into our final part, which is just reminding students that we have a number of presentations this month through Internship Co-op and Research Month, where we're talking about different ways to get experiences, find opportunities, etc. Yesterday was one of our career fairs. We had an internship and co-op fair, and even if you couldn't make it, you can go into Handshake and see who's there, and then reach out to those employers just to ask questions. Danny just put I'm assuming, Danny, we didn't do pronoun identifications. I hope it's okay I'm saying he. Danny put his LinkedIn connection in the chat and said, feel free to connect. I'd encourage you to do that with anybody that is of interest to you. And in the Career Center, we can teach you how to do appropriate reach out to alumni and employers and just influencers, whomever it may be. We can help you navigate that process. LinkedIn is a phenomenal way to help you figure out what it is you want to do. And I think honestly, if you meet people my age, so I'm in my 50s, if you meet a lot of people my age and even older and say, they might say, hey, what are you doing right now? What are you thinking about what you want to do? And you come back with, well, I'm not sure yet. They might say, you know what, I'm not sure yet either. I haven't grown up, I haven't figured it out. So just know that happens actually pretty often. But to the point of, if someone in your life says, what are you thinking you want to do? And you don't want to say, I don't know. You can say that in a different way. Sort of like the TikTok videos that my team shows me that says, show how your animal loves you without saying how your animal loves you, and there's this image, right? So I would say, if someone says to you, hey, what are you thinking about your major or your career, and you truly are uncertain, you can say, I'm thinking about A, B, or C. I'm exploring different possibilities to see what's the best fit for me right now. It is absolutely still saying, I don't know, but in a more focused way that then helps the person you're talking to give back and have a dialogue with you, which then leads to networking, and you just never know where that conversation will go. So I don't want, if some of you are set in your major and you're further along in your process and you were like me, where you early senior year, like, I don't like my major, but I'm not changing it. I don't regret being a marketing major. It taught me quite a bit. I met one of my absolute all-time best friends ever because we had a bunch of classes together, and I truly would not trade that friendship for anything. So, things happen for a reason, right? So you choose your major, you do the best you can in it, be the best student possible, find those exciting, interesting experiences to complement your resume. And then when you go in an interview, you'll be able to confidently talk about yourself and your opportunities. And then who knows what will open up. So just wanted to thank you all for coming today. We appreciate it. Go onto the career website. You'll be able to see all of our virtual presentations for students at all of our campuses. And so that's my closing thought. If anyone else has a closing thought, you're welcome to say it now. A quick goodbye. If not, then we'll just disconnect the call, but I wanted to make sure our guests, so thank you to our guests, our non-UConn guests for giving up your time today. But yes, feel free to say goodbye, and we appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Bye,
Bye,
all.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Panelists, you can stay on if you like, or definitely Christina. All right, I'm going to stop recording. Okay, then.